welcome everybody to the IXN partner session today. We're just going to give it a second for all of you to jump in here. And while we're doing that, I'm going to introduce IXN a little bit. So my name is Lassie Young. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here at IXN. I'll just do a quick introduction here. So for those of you who don't know who IXN is, most of you probably have seen us before. We've been sponsors of LIDMA for several years, and we've got many customers and friends throughout this group. We love this group. It's been great to be part of it. And but we're a technology company. We offer quoting and e-app and drop ticket and all kinds of solutions throughout the industry of life insurance. Working with direct marketers is one of our priorities, and as well as the independent life brokerage space. So that's a little bit about IXN. If you want to learn more about us, you can go to www.ixn.tech. We have very limited time, so I'm going to just point out a couple things here real quick and then introduce all of our panelists. And we've got a great group of rock stars here with us today. Thank you all for joining us and talking a little bit about our subject matter today. I want to start off with thanking you all for your votes this year. So we're now two-time winners of the LIDMA Innovation Award. Last year we won the People's Choice Innovation Award. This year we won the Innovation Award. I have it showing here. I'm not going to leave it up the whole time because I'm afraid I'll knock it over, but we're really excited, and thank you all for voting for us and our support. And really we won this award for our LifeDX platform that we're right in the midst of launching right now. We're really excited about it and it should have a big effect on all of your business, and hopefully add to your offering and what you can do, especially because many of you drive technology, you're forward-thinking technology companies, as well as life insurance companies. So we're going to share the link to the video if anyone hasn't seen it about that we put out for the Innovation Award. We'll put that in the chat here shortly. But let me introduce our team here of rock stars. We've got our CEO, Kevin Palmer, CEO of IXN. He's on with us. We've got Boyd Ervin. He's the Director of System Integration and New Business and Underwriting at Pac Life. Thanks for joining us, Boyd. We've got Denis Clifford, Senior Vice President at SBLI. We have Ryan Pinney, President of Pinney Insurance. And Jeff McCauley, COO of Paperless and President of Paperless Solutions Group. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll get into, I'm gonna turn the time over to Kevin Palmer to talk a little bit about LifeDX and get us into some of our questions for our panelists and our subject matter.
No, well, thanks everyone for joining. And I want to reiterate how thankful and appreciative we are for all of you in selecting us as the Innovation Award winner. As your opinions, specifically coming out of direct marketer space, we view you as the early innovators in the life space, and it means a lot. But really, the LifeDX was something that we built out. You know, we came into the marketplace a few years ago to build out digital tools for the life space. Let's just make life insurance easier to process for both the customers and the agents. And what we saw as a new vendor was it's really hard to build cool things because there's no consistent data flow throughout this marketplace. And we're in 2020 today, and all we saw were custom builds and Excel spreadsheets and FTP portals. And it's really not a scalable solution to interact between carriers and direct marketers and traditional BGAs. And even you start getting into all the different tech vendors that are trying to provide solutions. So about 2 years ago, we started embarking on our journey of how do we modernize this through an API framework. And that is the essence of LifeDX, is building a modern information highway that everyone gets to participate in. Both the carriers and the distributors and the direct marketers and the software vendors all can have an ease of data transmission so that people can build on top of data. And Pacific Life was one of our first carriers to understand this vision when we knocked on their door and started talking to some of these carriers and said, listen, this is going to save you a ton of time, money, and be able to help the entire industry innovate. And over the last couple of months, we've started building out the integration with them. They were the ones that nominated the LifeDX, and a number of other carriers are now jumping on board. But this is really a solution for all of you. And you'll see by our panel, we want everyone to participate in this. So, we have software vendor, direct marketer, a couple of carriers. If this panel was 50 to 100 people, I'd be even more happy. But that's the goal of this. And so, I want to really kick this off and get people talking about, where do you want to bring the industry? Where, as you look at it from a carrier perspective, from a distributor perspective, from a vendor perspective, how will APIs help you become more efficient and accomplish all the goals that you're trying to accomplish? I think if everyone can what's the best way to say it, stay in their lane and focus on doing the things they do, rather than everyone having to become a tech and operations provider, because that's the current model, I think the whole industry will be much better off. So, direct marketers, you guys are the builders. If I can think of anything that would make direct marketers happy, is clean APIs for all data to build on top of. So I'm going to kick this off. We'll start with Boyd from a carrier perspective. And, we had so many intimate sessions early on. Talk a little bit about, what were your thoughts around the LifeDX and what this can do for the industry to help facilitate life.
Absolutely. So, sometimes timing is everything, right? How do you align all the stars at the right time to make stuff happen? And LifeDX coming on board now it's a great opportunity for us to launch that with our AU process in the first quarter, right? The LifeDX is going to give us another platform for people to access that product and process. And it's going to do it in a way that, they can be innovative. They can do it differently. The idea of taking APIs and being able to build custom UIs around them, but not having to worry about the data, the content, or the questions, really opens up the door for some unique opportunities within building tickets, getting real-time statuses, delivering quotes, and doing it very effectively and efficiently. So it was really two parts, right? One is the innovative side. Where can we leverage this within distribution to do things differently, but without the hurdles and barriers they have today in managing a ton of data, a ton of questions, but make that easy. And the second benefit, was how do we create, how do we streamline things we've been doing for a long time? Kevin, if I remember correctly, the first sales pitch was, hey, what does it take to change your rates? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's solve rates. Every time you change rates, how much testing do you, your vendors, and your distribution partners have to go through? And what does it look like if you have one source for rates that everyone can call out to and use? And so that was the first sales pitch, and the idea and the concept made sense, and we wanted to work together to build that out, to create that that efficiency for us, for the vendors, for distribution, and then the LifeDX it goes beyond just quotes, right? The drop ticket, the statuses. And so you're going beyond just the opportunity to improve a process, and you're getting into a space that you can be innovative with processes that haven't changed in a while. But now the distribution can look at that differently, because some of the biggest hurdles to working in that space is going to be solved through the API. So just being able to bring the efficiency, the opportunity, and then to do that as we were looking to launch our AU process in the first quarter, the timing was perfect for us to explore, work with you, and make all that happen. So we're very happy to be the first one, and we've talked about it, Kevin. Love every other carrier to join us on this path. So thank you.
Yeah, no, and we're very appreciative that you've been a fantastic partner. I'll push it to Denis over at SBLI, another carrier, because like Pacific Life, most carriers are on some sort of API. And one of the things I say about the LifeDX, that this doesn't change that journey. But for distributors and for partners out there, if everyone goes on their own single API journey, it doesn't bring the efficiencies that you have by having a single API for all of these services. So Denis, I know, you deal with a lot of distributors. How often do you get asked to do custom projects and custom builds and platform builds? Because most carriers that I talk to, this is, they have a laundry list. And you can't get to them all. And, one of our goals is, this can make things more efficient. So you build once and it gets deployed to many rather than having to build for 50.
So you're right. And I would say that the language that we speak now is API, right? So that's, everybody wants to talk about APIs. And you can build that. And we've built some, we've built some, we have our own API deck, and it supports some of our distribution. The benefit to what you guys are bringing is sort of the aggregated feel of the API, so you can get to many, right? And that's I think a lot of us have tested it, understand the value of it. An API gives you sort of, you get accessibility, you get consistency, and you get scalability, which is another thing. You build it once and you have multiple uses and outlets for it. I will tell you that even from a distribution side, the prior thinking, I suppose it's still current with some, in that you would be building unique architecture, but it wasn't API supported, as an example. It really prevented you from getting into a lot of distribution outlets, in as much as that if somebody wanted to do business with you, very often they would have to leave their own environment, come over to your environment, and that wasn't a sort of an elegant solution. It didn't match up with their sort of brand feel and customer experience. And then when it was all over, then what happens? They're in your environment, not in our environment. And so there's a sort of a sort of an ecosystem that you have to be wary of, or not aware of, but aware of, to do commerce today. And I think that what you guys are bringing, and the aggregated opportunity that these APIs give to carriers and to their downline, that's tremendous. We're working with you guys on a couple of fronts, but one of the things that we really want to support is more uses for mobile outlets, which this is a great tool to sort of access more mobile tools, as it were, in the marketplace. And so overall, we're really thrilled that you guys are you've created LifeDX. But I would say, just even philosophically, the way that you guys are addressing the business needs of carriers and the distribution community, it's refreshing, and I applaud you guys for it, and I know that you're going to really do well with all of your tools.
No, thanks, Denis. And we work with the carriers to disseminate this data in and out of these behemoth organizations, but there's hundreds, some thousands of different distributors of your products out there. And, Ryan is, he's one of yours, direct marketing friends, and is never shy about providing his opinions. So, as we were building this out, we were validating this with some distribution partners. And, Ryan, probably didn't realize what we were building, but we were picking his brain about, hey, when you go to carriers, what do you want? We were asking these questions over the last year or two. So Ryan, why don't you just talk a little bit, now that you know what the LifeDX is and are part of the beta group that are sort of digging into these APIs. And I know you have even more opinions than where we need to be from phase one, but this is a journey of modernizing this ecosystem. But I'll let you have your opinion and discussion, because I always enjoy.
Sure, appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. And I'll send you my consulting bill shortly after this call. But the reality is that we are both a direct marketer and a traditional brokerage distribution agency, right? So we're a little bit different than some of the other LIDMA partners from a pure distribution flow or perspective. But when we look at the industry, whether it's through distribution, through brokerage, through direct to consumer, or even in some of the institutional wirehouse style accounts, at the end of the day, technology and the access to data is what's really driving a lot of that distribution and those sales processes. And so I think from that perspective, LifeDX is very, very appealing to us, because just in the, with the two carriers on this call, that's two integrations I need to make. It's two integrations I need to support. It's two integrations that if they make changes, I now have to redeploy my IT teams to go back and, update or change their processes. And, while each carrier doesn't typically change their ecosystem or their product distribution model or their workflow, on a regular basis, they do it occasionally. So every couple of years, they're coming up with something new or interesting. Well, when you take that across the typical distribution partner, we're working with a dozen or more carriers in the direct marketing space. In the BGA space, it's probably closer to 25. And so that's a lot of connections. And you're talking about different connections for rates, for products, for drop tickets or application data, sending the information back to the carriers. And I think the LifeDX idea and the platform in general create a huge opportunity for data to become just that, data-driven and informational exchanges versus constantly converting between paper and digital and back and forth along the process journey. I mean, if you look at where many of us are, we send out a digital application to the consumer, we may get a digital signature, but then because of the formatting or the process, we're sending it in a PDF copy to the carriers, who now they have to re-digitize it. And so like a lot of that stuff becomes very cumbersome for everybody involved. And I think the LifeDX solution provides a couple huge benefits for us as a distributor, which is we can go and connect to a single API infrastructure and framework. We're not required to maintain the individual connections with the various carriers and vendors that are part of the ecosystem. Instead, we're only having to make minimal changes along the way to keep our connection current, but we then get access to all of the carriers. And so when you think about it from that perspective, it means that a direct marketer can build out their own workflows, their own direct-to-consumer models that they want to try or trial. And I think there's ways that we probably could approach consumers better, but we're a little bit limited today because we can't build out some of the processes I think we would like to build or try, just because it doesn't really work with the current structure or framework. So from our perspective, we're super, super excited about LifeDX. Obviously we've already jumped on the platform and agreed to go forward. And yes, you're right. We want to see even more. I'm really looking forward to bringing on more of the data feeds for drop ticket and then the case status feeds in response. I think that will help us expand our own processes. I also think that it potentially means that there's going to be more competition in the AMS framework out there. Right now, we really have two vendors. We probably need 2 or 3 more to really be competitive and kind of see growth and things happening in the market space. And I think that with this access to data being more readily available, that's going to give us more opportunities and more systems in the marketplace. The carriers don't have to directly support, they get to indirectly support through LifeDX, but we as the distributors have a lot more option and choice.
No, thanks, Ryan. And IXN, we've been a sort of tech vendor in this space, and we've had to build out our own integrations with all of, the different carriers that we support. Jeff McCauley of Paperless Solutions Group sits in that space also, like us. Our end game is we are going to be utilizing the LifeDX and integrating with all the APIs of the carriers through the LifeDX for all of our services as a tech vendor. And I think Jeff, if he had access to all of this, he'd probably be doing the same thing. So I'll talk, Jeff. I know we're tight on time; these 20 minutes fly by. So
yeah, I'll talk really quick. A couple of quick comments. One of them would be, as LIDMA, as you guys know, I'm in the LIDMA situation. One of the key things of LIDMA has always been process improvement. And this is really a quantum leap, in my opinion. There's been others that have been done by LIDMA in the past and sponsored in the past. This is really the next phase. So you getting the award, I think, is well-deserved and important to the industry. And I appreciate that you're bringing it to the industry as an industry solution. Second, I'll say as a vendor, as you know, we came together because of an API. You came to us because of our Forms API. And we at PSG are big believers in API. And you're right. Obviously, there's other data that we always constantly get asked for to be able to expose. So pointing them this direction, I think, is going to be the ideal way to go. And for make a vendor like ourselves who don't do some of the things that you do or need, like those statusing, that kind of thing, for example, being able to supply those to the industry through a seamless fashion, or us to integrate through you over to PacLife or SBLI, we're all for it. So we think it's great. So I'll keep it at that since we're tight on time.
Yeah, so, just to close, and first, I want to really thank all the panelists for jumping on. It's a disservice that all of you only got to chat for 3 to 4 minutes each, because you can probably spend an hour talking about your businesses. But, for everyone out there, if you're a direct marketer and you haven't watched the video or want to understand more, feel free to reach out to your carrier partners or IXN. We'd be happy to chat with you. If you're a carrier, and even if you have an API framework, this solution is a multi-carrier API framework. That is what the ecosystem is demanding, not just wanting. So let's come together. We will be building out advisory councils for the LifeDX in 2021. So we want this to be collaborative. We want this to be an industry initiative. And we're really looking forward to working specifically with LIDMA membership, which is one of the most innovative, forward-looking groups out there. So thank you, everyone. Again, honored that we won the award and looking forward to working with you all in 2021. Have a happy and safe holidays if I don't get to speak with you.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Lasse.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.